Welcome to Girlfriends Bible Study, a live Bible study with Connie and friends. Each week, Connie and her girlfriends engage in a lively conversation as they read and study Scripture. So grab a pen, your journal, and your best friend, and enjoy this enlightening Bible study.
Welcome to Bible Study Live with Connie and friends. Friends will be popping in any moment now, so you may see them pop in. I'll put them into the holding zone until the end. But I'm here to talk to you tonight with Bible Study Live with Connie and friends. Here to talk to you about keeping your word. Keeping your word. That is what we are discussing tonight. And there are so many scriptures about keeping our word. I'm only going to share four of them, but there are, I was looking it up and I want to say I found immediately, was it 18, 16, 18? I think 16. And that doesn't even talk about the power of the tongue, life and death and all of those things, which we also know. But this is literally just about keeping your word. So let me tell you why I'm talking about this tonight. Um, there's a situation that I'm going through myself that there was something I was supposed to do. I was supposed to do it last year, and then I had multiple legitimate reasons for delaying. And then the beginning of this year, and multiple legitimate reasons for delaying, and one reason after another, all legitimate. All, if I told somebody what the reasons were, they'd say, "Oh, well, I completely understand." But at some point, I'm just being honest, transparent, Connie, is per usual. At some point, I just decided I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to do this other thing instead and let that be enough. And it's not enough. And it came up yesterday in a meeting. It's not even a big deal thing. It's just, it has to do with sending some correspondence. Not a big deal. Nothing that is outside of my wheelhouse. There's no physically taxing situation. It's not that. It just became a thing that just dragged on my to-do list. It was a little bit complicated trying to do part of it. There is absolutely no good reason for me not to do it. And so I had a conversation yesterday. So I'm going to admit my one of my sisters and then I'll continue on. So I had a conversation yesterday with a colleague and she was like, "Did you ever send out the?" And I was like, "Nah, I decided to just, do individual emails and I didn't do the thing." And I just left it at that and for some reason she hadn't even gotten her individual email. And basically, it was one of those things where overnight as I slept and thought about it, I realized you didn't keep your word. You said you were going to do that thing and you didn't keep your word. And it's not even a big deal thing. But not keeping your word is a character issue. It really is. And even if you can't keep your word and you come back to somebody and say, "You know what, I was planning to do this, I'm not able to do it," that's fine. That's fine. I mean, because sometimes things happen or it has to be delayed or things happen and people understand things happening. But when you don't even address it, you like don't keep your word and you don't say anything, that's really a character issue. So this was a small thing, but it was a big thing. And all the scriptures that talk about God being able to trust you with very little so he can bless you with very much. Your word, that's one of those things. Like your word is your character. So I have a couple of personal examples that I'm going to share, and I'm going to share some scriptures as well. So, hello to my sisters who are on the call, my sister and my sister Latrice. Hello, Tracy. Um, so first, I just wanted to mention that what prompted this message, like I said, was a personal example where I did something that, even though it was minor, I didn't keep my word. I just didn't keep my word, and it was an easy word to keep. And it made me get up this morning early and just be determined that I'm going to do those things that I said I was going to do. And I'm looking at a number of things. It's been a busy day. I've been knocking them off the list. I'm excited about that. But like I said, not keeping your word is a character issue. So um, I have some fun examples, and I'll leave those. I'll leave those for last because they're kind of fun and hilarious. And so, I'll leave those. But I'm going to start first with our scripture. So I'm going to read first from Deuteronomy 23, verses 21 through 23. If you make a vow to the Lord your God, do not be slow to pay it. For the Lord your God will certainly demand it of you, and you will be guilty of sin. But if you refrain from making a vow, you will not be guilty. Now, I'm going to switch back and forth. So, first of all, I like what it says here. Like, if you're going to give your word, keep your word. Keep your word when you said you were going to keep your word. But if you're not, just don't give your word. Just don't say you're going to do it if you're not going to do it, or if you're not sure you're going to do it. Like, don't give your word. Just don't do it. And my sister, she knows one of my things about being late, it's like a strategy. Like if you find out you're running late and you say, you're supposed to be there, let's say it's 7:30, but you're going to get there really closer to 7:40. But people don't ever want to say, I'll be there 7:40. Instead, they'll say, I'm running about 5 minutes late. So then they're expecting you at 7:30. You've told them you're running 5 minutes late. Now they're looking at 7:35. You're still not there. Because really, you knew when you said I was running about 5 minutes behind, you were really 10 minutes behind. And you knew that, you just didn't want to say it. Maybe you were thinking you were optimistic and maybe I could really speed up and really get there in 5 minutes. But really, 5 minutes, you're just arriving, and then you got to park and you got to go in. So it's really 10 minutes. So in the people's minds, you're late twice. Like you were late for 7:30, and now you said 5 minutes, and now it's 7:40, and you're just strolling in. And I know it doesn't seem fair, and it seems like, but it's okay if you say I'm about. No, it's not. It's not okay. So my strategy is, if I find out I'm running late and I know I'm going to be there in 10 minutes, I'll say I'll be there in 15 minutes. So I'll say I'll be there at 7:45, knowing I'm going to be there by 7:40. But I will say 7:45 because then it's like a head game. But then you walk in and they're like, "Oh, you're here sooner than I thought you would be." Now, granted, you're still late, but they don't even remember that you're late when you come sooner than your new time. Then they're like, "Oh, you're here. Okay, all right. Well, let's get started." But when you say, "I'll be there in 5 minutes," and then really you're 10 or 15 more minutes late, you're late twice. And they're doubly salty. They're doubly salty. So my strategy is, if you're running late, try not to run late, first of all. Try not to run late. But if you are, something happens unexpected, add 10 or 15 minutes to when you think you're going to get there. I know it seems like a lot, but I know I'm going to be there sooner, and they're going to be upset if and you know what? They will be happier that you get there sooner than that 10 or 15 minutes than they will if you're late twice. It's real. And Gina knows, I always say that airlines started using my strategy, because now, have you noticed, whenever you fly, airlines say you're due in at 1:35, and actually they land at 1 o'clock. You're at the gate by 1:15, and hey, we're early, and they knew you were going to get there at 1:15. They knew that, but now they learned we will get more complaints saying we're going to get there at 1:15, and even getting there at 1:17, we'll get complaints that we're late. So it's better for us to say we're going to get there at 1:35 and then get there at 1:15 and look like we are 20 minutes in. So airlines, and it hasn't been forever. They've only started doing this, I don't know. Tommy soon, I think she'll know, but let's say the last 10 years. I don't even think it's been 20 years that they've been doing this, because they've been late for a good long time. For a good long time. And only recently do they now overestimate what time they're going to arrive. So that's one thing. So that's Deuteronomy. That's what God says. Like, don't even make a vow to me if you're not going to keep it. Like, it's better to not even make the vow. Don't make the vow if you can't keep it. That's the vow of, I'm gonna be there by, and then you don't get it. Don't do that. Don't even make the vow. Next scripture we're gonna look at is Proverbs. It's just a shorty. It's Proverbs 20:25. And this one, I got a good story in this one too. It says, "It is a trap for a man to dedicate something rashly and only later to consider his vows. It is a trap, y'all. Now listen. So my good friend Christina Michelle, who I adore, that's my girl. Christina Michelle says her strategy now, and I know it's Bible study, but I'm gonna just be real. I'm just gonna say what it is. She says if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. So she doesn't give her word unless it feels like it's going to be a hell yes. Unless she's like, "Oh, absolutely. That's a yes." Adamantly yes. If it's not that, then it's a no. And I get that. And I get that. So, I'll read in a moment um, something that I wrote 10 years ago, actually. And I just reposted it on social media, but I'll read it in a moment. Let me get through these last scriptures. And one of them is going to lead to that. So, Christina Michelle, I'm just giving you your shout out. Listen to this one. Now, Ecclesiastes, honestly, I don't know which book is more depressing, Ecclesiastes or Job, but they're like neck and neck. Because, I mean, Ecclesiastes is like, you know what? Ain't nothing good out in here. But there are some things that Ecclesiastes says that I just think are fascinating. This is one of them. So this is in Ecclesiastes 5, and it's verses 2 through 7. Here's what it says: Do not be quick with your mouth, do not be hasty in your heart to utter anything before God. God, wait, listen how they break it down. God is in heaven and you are on earth. I'm like, okay, break it down. So God is in heaven and you are on earth, so let your words be few. As a dream comes when there are many cares, so the speech of a fool when there are many words. When you make a vow to God, do not delay in fulfilling it. This is the second time they said that. It was back in Deuteronomy. Now they're saying it again in Ecclesiastes. Listen to what they say next. He has no pleasure in fools. He has no pleasure in fools. Fulfill your vow. It is better not to vow than to make a vow and not fulfill it. Do not let your mouth lead you into sin, and do not protest to the temple messenger, "My vow was a mistake." Why should God be angry at what you say and destroy the work of your hands? Much dreaming and many words are meaningless. Therefore, stand in awe of God. You know, they're big on meaningless in Ecclesiastes. Everything is meaningless in Ecclesiastes. But my favorite is when they say, what they say about fools, he has no pleasure in fools. And God is in heaven. You're on earth. So you talk about, God, I promise. And we do it all the time. Lord, if you just get me out of this, I promise I won't. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't make a vow. You know how they say, don't write a check that, y'all know. Don't write the check. Don't do it. So we don't need to be making vows to get God. I make it. Nope. No, I best not. I best not make that vow. And unfortunately, there are some vows that we should be able to make to God and keep, and then we end up in a situation where we didn't keep them. Marriage vows and things like that. You end up, divorced, and you're like, dang it, I made a vow to God. Some stuff is hard. Some stuff is hard. It's real. It's true. But the regular stuff, the stuff that we're coming to Him day in and day, God, I swear, if you just get me out of this one more time, y'all, He takes no pleasure in fools. Do not do it. Do not do it. And then, you know what? I said it, I was hasty. I shouldn't have said. I was thinking I could, but what had happened doesn't really work in that situation. That's what this says to me. That's not going to work. So unless you know that, do not even make a vow. Don't do it. Don't do it. And then this last scripture in New Testament, we're in Matthew chapter 5, and it is verses 33 through 37. Again, now it's funny because they're referencing back to when they had it in there before. Again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, "Do not break your oath, but keep the oaths you have made to the Lord." This is Jesus talking, y'all. This is Jesus. He said, "But I tell you, Do not swear at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black. Simply let your yes be yes and your no, no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. You either say yes, you say no. That's it. No, I swear, I promise. Yes or no. So now we're going to get into my post, my social media post. And let's see, just looking. Okay, good. Yeah, so making sure I have all my little examples here. So I got my examples ready. So this is my last example, and I just posted this again recently. It came up yesterday in my memory feed, which I love. So I'm just going to read it to you. Now, this was at the time I was living in LA, and LA people are just known for not keeping the word because they're always looking for, what's going to be the best thing, what's going to be the hot place to go, what's going to be, what if I get a better offer. They're always looking for, what if I get a better offer. And I know it's not just LA people. I was living in LA at the time, so let me just say that. And they are known for this, just so you know, and they know they're known for this. So it was a quick guide to interpreting LA speak. I probably won't be able to make it. That means I'm not coming. I'll have to check my calendar. That means I'm not coming. I'll try to come. That means I'm not coming. I hope I get a chance to come. That means I'm not coming. I'm planning to come. That means I'm not coming. I'm coming. That means in LA speak, I may or may not be coming. Who else is going to be there? I had never heard this question asked so many times as I did living in LA. I think it is the height of rudeness. Who else is going to be there? That means if I come, it won't be because of you. But really, I'm not coming. I already have my tickets. That means I'm coming unless something better comes up. A guide to interpreting everyone else around the country, as well as people who live in LA but aren't from LA and don't want to act like they are. I'm sorry, I can't make it. That means I'm not coming. I'm coming means I'm coming. So, and then it said this has been a public service announcement for event planning purposes. Let your yes be yes and your no be no, which, as we know, is in Matthew 37. Now, let me just say this. You can't order food based on maybe. You can't order food based on I'll try. You're trying to cater an event, purchase a meal, and somebody tells you, I'm going to see what I can do. I'm planning to come. You can't order based on that. That is, say no or say, I don't have an answer for you right now, but I will get back to you by Tuesday and give you a firm answer. But leaving it out there, and I talked to people who said, I don't like to say no. It feels mean. I like to just say, I'll try. And then if I don't come, they'll know at least I tried. I'm like, ain't nobody thinking you tried. That's what I told them. Nobody thinks you tried. They think you were just too chicken poop to say, I'm not coming. And that doesn't help anybody. You got tickets, you got place settings, you're doing the thing, you're trying to order food, and you got maybes. There's no such thing as maybe. It was a maybe when I asked you. It's either yes or it's no. And I shared with them, listen, if former President Obama and Michelle Obama called you and said, I'd like to invite you to dinner next week on Tuesday, would you be like, oh, I'm going to try to make it? Seriously? Seriously? You know when you're going to be somewhere. You know when the answer is, as Christina Michelle would say, hell yes, I will be there. And you know when it's, ooh, I don't really want to go, but I don't want to tell them no, so I'll say, I'll try. Let me get back to you. I'll plan on it, but, we'll see. Don't do that. That is so rude. It is incredibly rude. Just don't do it. Just let your yes be yes and your no be no. Keep your word. If you're going to give your word, keep your word. Otherwise, don't give it. Like it said, don't even give it. Just, I don't know. You're not going to give me. But if somebody asks you something, if they ask you, will you come? Will you do? Either say yes or say no. And since we're going there, let me just say one more thing. Since that came up, again, in the let your yes be yes and your no be no, don't nobody need to hear every step that you need to take to do a yes. That is between you and yourself. So if somebody says, will you give me a ride tomorrow? Yeah, I mean, I have to stop. I have to make sure I end work early enough, and then I got to go get gas, and I have to make sure my car is clean. What? Yes or no? That's it. If you can do it, you say yes. Nobody needs to know all that it's going to cost you, all that it's going to, all the labor you got to go through to do it. Honestly, you can keep that. That doesn't even feel good. There's something, I don't even know that scripture is. I know it's in Proverbs where it says, when a stingy man gives you something, even the little bit they give you makes you want to vomit it back up because of the way they do it, because they're counting the cost. Don't do that. Don't, nobody needs to hear, well, I had to, and then I had to, and you understand that the next thing I had to do, and so there were 15 things I had to do, but I got it to you. I said I would, and I did, but let me tell you what the cost was. You know what? You can keep it. You can keep it. I was in a relationship with somebody who's do that all the time. Could you stop by the store? Oh, stop by the store. That means I got to turn left on, and then I got to turn right, and then let me make sure I have enough money, or otherwise I got to stop by the ATM. Now I have seriously. Never mind. I will go to the store. No, no, no. I mean, I don't mind going. Oh, you so clearly do, because you have just told me 15 reasons, things you got, hoops you got to hop through to do this one little thing. That is okay. I got it from here. And I try to be that same person. I tried not to, if I can do it, I can say yes. If I can't, I say no. But if I say yes, even if I'm thinking, okay, okay, that's, keep it in my head. Because otherwise you make somebody feel awful. You tell them, oh, you can always ask me if you need something. Don't hesitate. If you need something, just ask. And then they do, and then you're like, oh, well, gotta move some things around. You know what? Keep it. Just keep it. Just keep it. Keep it. Yes or no. That's all I'm saying. Just yes or no. So now I'm going to go to my sisters. Hey, sisters. Hi, Gina.
Hi, sister. It's that cereal brand, California Flakes, though.
This is California Flakes. You know that's a brand of cereal. That is real, too. It's a shame. But I've learned it's not just California. It's a character thing, and it doesn't matter really where you're from. For some reason, California attracts that character, but it really is a character thing of people who will just, there was that one comedian. I remember he said only in California is I flaked an acceptable excuse. Like I was waiting for you at the movie theater, dude. Where were you? I flaked. Like what? That's it? You flaked? And I rolled because I knew when that comedian said that, I was like, oh my gosh, he is telling the truth. I flaked is an actual acceptable excuse in California. I flaked. Sorry. Flaked.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a no.
yeah.
That's a no.
I hadn't thought about the people who, you're right, will enumerate all of the ways that what you're asking them to do is an inconvenience. And then in the next breath, oh no, I'm happy to do it. Mm,
Mm-mm.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
No. I can't stand that. I dated a guy who was exactly opposite of that. After having dated a guy that was that way, and I just thought this, I guess this is what people do. And then I dated a guy, and I was like, could you, absolutely. And I was like,
Right, right.
but
But what about the way your bank account is set up?
right, exactly. It's just like, yeah. I was so triggered that I was ready for it and it didn't come. You know, the other thing I have to share, I have a good friend, and she didn't realize she was a flake at the time. She's no longer a flake. She learned I'm not going to give my word unless I can keep my word. And it was the most brilliant thing ever. But at the time, I told her, you don't think that people know that you're going to flake? Ask all your friends. And that's the thing is, people don't realize that people know that about them. Like it's a thing that people know. And you think, no, I'm really trying. Ask your friends if they think you're a flake. Ask them if you say you're coming, if they actually think you're coming. And I told her, just try it. Try that exercise. Ask your friends, when I tell you I'm gonna come, what odds do you think there are that I'm actually gonna come? And she found out. Like less than 30. I really don't think you're gonna come. And she realized I don't want to have that reputation where people know if I give my word, I'm not going to keep it. And she changed. She just started saying, she would say, well, you know what? No, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't make it. There you go. I know. Tracy gave it a heart. I know, girl. You can change. We can change. We have the
Yeah,
capability to change.
that's true. Hi, Gina. Hi, Connie.
I,
I have a girlfriend it reminds me of. I have a really good friend, and I think she has adopted the Christina Michelle uh, saying or whatever you want to call it, but
philosophy.
um,
Yeah.
philosophy, yes. Because I love when I ask her something, she'll say, sure. Either it's immediately sure or it's, I can't do that. It's never and it's not a delay at all. It's always sure or no, I can't do it. So I'll have to tell her about that philosophy that she has incorporated. Obviously, it's a part of her, but yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
It really is. You know what you're going to get. It's either going to be, like you said, an enthusiastic sure, or it's she can't do it. There's no guess to it. I love it. I
Can
love
I
it.
tell you my favorite question is who else is going to be there?
That is I just can't even get over how rude that is. I just can't even. I think, who does that?
You're not
You
worth it,
know what?
but
Let me tell you,
somebody
I
else did
have
it.
to I have to tell you guys. Okay, so as a fund development person, it's important for me to know who's going to be there because I need to know who I'm trying to get money from. So I have never been as rude as to just say, well, who else is going to be there? But I'll be honest with you, I always find a back door to find out who's going to be there because if I'm investing my networking time at an event, I need to know that. And I'm strategic. I'll be honest. I know you're recording this, so don't judge me, people, when you watch it. But I'll identify who's going to be there and then make a list of like 10 to 20 targets that I need to introduce myself to. Right now, this isn't an event where you're going with your friends. I'm not talking about that. That's rude. That's just rude. But if it's for business and it's my job to go to this event to connect with, heavy hitters to ask for donations, then that takes it in a little different direction. So no, I'm not that rude person,
No.
everybody. No.
That
That's
makes
just
But
sense
doing your
though.
homework, Tracy. That's just doing
yeah,
your
Exactly.
homework.
That's
okay.
doing your
Okay. Clear
homework.
it up for me, Gina. Clear it up
Yes,
for me.
that's
Yes.
just doing your homework. That's your
Yeah.
job. That's a whole different thing,
It's
ma'am.
Okay.
completely different. Think about recently, Tracy and I had an opportunity to speak to an organization at a conference. We needed to know who's going to be in the audience because we
Yes.
will design our remarks around who's going to be there. That's, like Gina said, that's just doing homework. That's
Okay. I
strategy.
feel better now.
Oh no, that makes perfect sense.
Yes. That's not,
In the
can
business
you come
setting,
to a cookout at my house on Saturday? Who else is gonna be there? That's
right, right. That's different.
That is different. Okay.
That's different. And in
that is
LA,
some
Tracy,
California
they
stuff.
do that. They do. I had an open house. I finally had this lovely little townhouse I was renting. It was so beautiful. And I was so happy to be back in my own spot. I did a little celebratory open house, birthday celebration, whatever it was. And one of the people said, "Who else is going to be there?" My friends that I've invited to come to my open house. She got there and said, "Who else is coming?" And I was like, "You know what? You're the most important person. You're here. That's all that matters." Yeah, I know, but who else came and who else is coming? I didn't understand why it made a difference. And I refuse to answer it. If we're talking about a personal event, I will not do it. If I'm hosting, like Gina said, like you said, if it's a business event, I'm doing a networking, it's a corporate, whatever, then yeah, if you say who else is going to be there, oh, I'm going to have some, sponsors and there's going to be some artists. I am not offended. I am not. I invite you to
It's
my personal
specific.
home for my personal
Yeah.
party, and you ask me,
Yeah,
that's your last invitation.
even specific names. So when the CEO of our organization is invited to something or asked to do something, I ask who else is who, because I need to know, is this a peer? Is this something her peers will be doing? Or is she going to be downgrading herself by going, attending, doing? So that's a very valid question in professional settings, very valid. And when you're inviting somebody over for dinner, just to come see your housewarming, that is a uniquely California thing. That is a and you are question right there. That's what
Right.
that is. It's like,
Right. Yeah. In
no.
professional settings, it makes perfect sense. So I'm glad you brought that up, Tracy, because that is so important. It is important to know there is a place for that. There is absolutely a place for that. In the professional settings, because you have to prepare, or like you said, I have to connect. This is networking. I need to know how many business cards do I need to bring? Who am I going to be meeting? Are these big fish? Are these little fish? Do I need to ask for 250 or 100,000? All of that. So professional settings, I'm good with it. Somebody coming over to your house, y'all, come on now. So, and like I said, I saw too much. There was too much. I saw too much in LA. And then, like Gina said, that enumerating the cost for it and then saying, but I'm happy to do it. I'm sorry, those two things don't match. They do not match. So you can either do it or don't do it. But I don't want to hear all the steps it's going to take you to get it done. So rude. So rude. First, I gotta go to the grocery store. Oh, then you know what? Never mind. Never mind. I'm good. And then they get offended when you cancel. Like, yeah, I'm good. You don't. No, never mind. Well, no, 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 no. Yeah, yep, 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 yep. No, thank you. No, thank you. So,
You
anyway.
know what? I notice people like that don't do that for everybody though. They
Oh
don't do it
yeah,
to everybody. They don't do it to everybody. The
that's
people
true.
who can do something for them or who they want to impress or whatever. Oh, yeah, but
Yep,
yeah.
that's true. That is a good point. Yep, when it's somebody where the cost doesn't matter, somebody that they super respect or want to impress, like you said, they would never think to do that. They would never think to do that. But those people that,
What's in it for me? Not enough. I'm gonna have to turn left when I had to turn right earlier. Shoot.
so ridiculous. Anyway, so there's scripture to back up, keep it short. Don't be making vows to God. He does not like fools. He's not pleased with the fools. Plus, he's God and you're here on earth. So don't be making vows to God. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Just yes, be yes, and be no. Just leave it at that. Just let that be it. So, and then like Tracy's friend and like Christina Michelle, if it's a yes and right, yay, yes, sure, I love that. Sure, absolutely, be my pleasure. And if it's not, I'm not gonna be able to do that. It's not rude to decline. It's not. In fact, it's rude when you say you'll try and then you never follow back up to even give them an answer. So I tell people now, people who think they're being courteous and tell me I'll try or maybe or whatever, I just say, oh, okay, I'll count you as a no. I'll count you as a decline. Well, no, no, no. I can't cater to that. Should I order a meal for you? Oh, well, I mean, um, if I shouldn't order a meal for you, the answer is no. And I'm okay with that. I'm going to count you as a decline unless you tell me it's a yes. or unless you give me a date where you might change your mind. My RSVP date is this. If my that's the other thing, y'all. If your RSVP date, let's say we're on June 23rd right now, let's say your RSVP date is June 30th. Nobody needs to be sending you maybes right now. What does maybe mean on June 23rd? It's a maybe. We know it's a maybe. By June 30th, though, I need a response. On June 30th, don't tell me maybe. On June 30th, it is a yes or it is a no. You don't have to send me a maybe in the interim. It was a maybe when I sent out the invitation. So I'm good. Just make sure you hit the deadline and either give me a yes or no. And that's the other thing. I think it's Eventbrite. I hate that Eventbrite even offers the option for maybe, because maybe should not be an option. It's either yes or it's no. Don't respond until it's yes or no. Maybe means nothing. All it makes you think is I've responded and you haven't. So maybe it's not a valid option. It's just not a valid option, in my opinion, to an event. So just don't do it. And then if it's before the date, okay, it was maybe when I sent it. And if it's after the date or as of the date, you no longer get maybe as an option. It's either yes or no. Now I got to order tickets and food and, y'all, anyway, stop venting now. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to stop our YouTube feed and have a good night.